The Pakled made a grave error when they attacked Earth. Now they will face the unbridled fury of the human race and reap the bitter consequences of their arrogant invasion. In the year 2247, the people of Earth were going about their normal lives, blissfully unaware of the impending doom racing towards their blue planet. Without warning, a massive fleet of alien warships appeared in orbit and immediately began raining destruction down on Earth's major population centers. New York, London, Moscow, Beijing, all were decimated within minutes as the alien weapons sliced through humanity's defenses like they were made of paper. The invaders identified themselves as the Pakled Empire and demanded Earth's total capitulation and surrender. Their warlord Fenris appeared on every video feed, his scarred gray face leering as he declared that any further resistance would lead to the complete extermination of the human species. Earth's battered militaries, caught completely off guard by the sudden attack, were quickly overwhelmed by the technologically superior Pakled forces. The great cities of humanity burned, and countless millions perished in the onslaught. But as the aliens sought to conquer and enslave the surviving populace, they failed to truly comprehend the depths of human tenacity and resolve. For though Earth's defenses lay in ruins, the human spirit remained unbroken. Scattered military remnants began to regroup in hidden bases and bunkers, desperately searching for any way to strike back against the merciless invaders. Jeffrey Russell, a grizzled veteran of the Earth Defense Corps, emerged as a leader of this ragtag human resistance. He and his fellow survivors knew they were vastly outmatched. The Pakled controlled the orbitals, the major cities, the communication networks. Their technology seemed to outclass humanity's in every way. Warlord Fenris gloated over the view screens, declaring Earth the newest slave world of the glorious Pakled Empire. But Russell and the other human survivors refused to bend the knee. If the Pakled wanted to exterminate humanity, then humanity would make them pay dearly for it. Russell proposed a desperate plan. A small team would infiltrate the Pakled flagship in orbit and take down its planetary defense grid. This would give the tattered Earth forces a slim chance to strike back and bloody the arrogant aliens' noses. It was a suicide mission. The chances of success were minimal, but the alternative was too terrible to contemplate. The end of human civilization, the extinction of humanity itself, a future where mankind lived only as slaves to pitiless alien overlords. The human race needed a miracle. And then a miracle happened. As Russell and his commandos prepared for their desperate assault, they received word of a stunning discovery. Ancient alien ruins had been found on Mars, ruins that predated any known civilization. And contained within those crumbling structures was an incredibly advanced weapon system, eons ahead of anything possessed by humanity or the Pakled. It had been deemed too dangerous to ever activate. But now, with the very survival of Earth at stake, that calculus had changed. That ancient alien weapon might be the key to turning the tide against the Pakled. Russell knew what had to be done. One team would assault the Pakled battle station, and the other would launch a daring raid to the ruins on Mars to recover the Doomsday device. The two missions launched simultaneously as the last two ships of the human fleet dared the blockade, streaking into space. The odds of success were infinitesimal. The chances of the teams even surviving were slim to none. But this was the only way. The last desperate hope for the human race. The resistance would succeed and drive the Pakled from Earth, or die trying. It was pure audacity. It was the very essence of human defiance and determination in the face of annihilation. The Pakled had attacked Earth. And now they would face the consequences of their mistake. For when you strike at humanity, you had best not miss. When you wound mankind, you had best pray they bleed out. Because if they don't, then mankind will hunt you to the ends of the universe to exact their revenge. This was the indomitable spirit of humanity. And the Pakled were about to learn of it firsthand. The stolen Pakled shuttle streaked through the void towards Mars, its engines straining at maximum output. Inside the cramped confines of the ship, Jeffrey Russell and his hand-picked squad of Earth Defense Corps commandos checked their weapons and armor, preparing for the dangerous mission ahead. ETA to Mars orbit, 5 minutes, announced Lieutenant Chen from the pilot's seat. No sign we've been detected. Russell nodded, his rugged features cast in shadows by the dim red lighting of the cabin. They had to reach those alien ruins on Mars and recover that advanced weapon. It was a desperate long shot, but it might be humanity's last hope against the merciless Pakled invaders. The shuttle shuddered as it knifed into the thin Martian atmosphere. Russell clutched his restraints as Chen guided them towards the coordinates uploaded from the old research data. The ruins soon came into view on the barren plain below, crumbling stone spires jutting from the rusty sands like the bones of some long-dead leviathan. "Lock and load, people! We've got to move fast!" Russell growled as the ship touched down in a swirl of dust. The hatch hissed open and the commandos piled out into the arid Martian air, Russell in the lead. They advanced quickly towards a gaping obsidian archway that plunged into the subterranean depths of the ruins. But as they neared the threshold, energy beams suddenly seared out from the shadowed portal, stitching lines of blackened glass across the Martian sands. "Contact! We've got Pakled scouts! 9 o'clock!" yelled Sergeant Hawkins. Russell's team scattered, diving for the meager cover of the wind-scoured boulders, ringing the ruins' entrance. A vicious exchange of gunfire erupted, the zaps of Pakled disruptors and the cracks of human assault rifles echoing across the desolate plains. Hunkered behind a rock, Russell risked a glance around to assess the situation. 6 Pakled troopers, clad in their distinctive mottled gray armor. They had the entrance locked down, and his team was pinned. "Chen, Valdez, lay down covering fire on my mark," Russell ordered over the comm. "McTaggart, you're with me. We're going to flank them along the western wall. Move fast and stay low." Acknowledgement lights winked on his HUD. "Mark!" Chen and Valdez popped up from their positions, sending a blistering hail of suppressing fire towards the Pakled line. The alien soldiers ducked back into the shadows of the ruins as stone shards exploded around them. Russell and McTaggart were already moving, sprinting along the base of the crumbling walls in a crouched run. Reaching the edge of the Pakled's field of fire, Russell paused and hefted a frag grenade. He nodded to McTaggart and then hurled the explosive in a high arc towards the ruins' entrance. A startled shout sounded from within, and then the grenade detonated in a thunderous spray of smoke and rubble. "Go, go, go!" Russell roared, charging through the swirling dust, rifle up and tracking for targets. He shot down a reeling Pakled trooper before the alien even registered his presence. McTaggart dispatched another with a precise headshot. The rest of Russell's squad rushed in behind them. Within moments, the remaining Pakled scouts were overwhelmed. The short, ferocious battle ended with human commandos standing over the motionless armored forms of the enemy, wisps of smoke curling from the muzzles of their weapons. "Good work," Russell said, scanning his team for casualties. But they had all made it through unscathed. He allowed himself a tight smile. These men and women were the best Earth had to offer. He knew he could count on them. "Chen, take point. McTaggart, bring up the rear. Let's find that weapon and get the hell off this rock." His commandos nodded and fell into formation as Russell led the way into the yawning darkness of the ancient alien ruins. The stone passageways twisted and turned, leading them ever deeper into the bowels of Mars. Strange hieroglyphs and alien mechanisms lined the walls, illuminated by the shifting beams of the commandos' gun-mounted flashlights. They moved cautiously through aeons of undisturbed dust, keenly aware that the Pakled could have more soldiers lying in wait. "Hold up," Russell whispered, raising a fist. The squad halted as he knelt to examine the flagstones at a branching of the tunnel. The thin beam of his flashlight picked out the telltale scuffs of recent footprints in the primordial grime. "We're not alone down here. Stay frosty." Proceeding down the left-hand passage, they finally came to an imposing metal door embossed with unfamiliar alien text. Russell felt his heart rate quicken. According to the research data, this was the chamber housing the weapon they had come for. "Patel," he said, motioning the squad's engineering specialist forward, "get this door open. Hawkins, Chen, cover him." As Patel set to work on the door's locking mechanism, Russell positioned the rest of the squad in a defensive perimeter. The minutes dragged by, tension building with each passing heartbeat. Russell's finger hovered near his rifle's trigger as he stared down the shadowed halls. "I'm through!" Patel announced triumphantly. With a hiss of stale air, the massive door grudgingly slid open. Eerie emerald light spilled out from the chamber within. Russell took a cautious step inside, sweeping the room with his weapon. There, in the center of the chamber, stood a bizarre machine of glinting alloys and pulsing crystalline conduits. It was alien, incomprehensible, and yet Russell could sense the immense power thrumming within its outlandish circuits. This had to be it, the weapon they needed to turn the tide. Patel approached the device reverently. "My God," he breathed. "The sophistication of this technology. It's light years beyond anything we've seen, even from the Pakled." "Can you make it work for us?" Russell asked. Patel was already poring over the machine's controls, his brow furrowed in concentration. I think so, but I'll need time to decipher these systems." Suddenly, a guttural shout sounded from the tunnel outside, followed by the zap of disruptor fire. "Contact rear!" yelled McTaggart over the comm. "Pakled reinforcements!" Russell cursed. They must have tripped some kind of silent alarm. Charging back out into the tunnel, he found his team engaged in a ferocious defensive action against dozens of Pakled shock troopers swarming from further down the passageway. Plasma bolts crisscrossed the air, searing the ancient stone, the strobing hellscape of close-quarters battle illuminating grimacing human faces and blank alien visors. Russell opened fire, methodically cutting down Pakled soldiers with precise bursts, even as more and more surged forward in an implacable gray tide. McTaggart cried out, clutching a scorched hole in his combat armor. Russell dragged the wounded commando back to the mouth of the chamber. "Patel!" he roared over the cacophony of battle. "We're out of time! We need that weapon now!" "I'm trying," the engineer shouted back, fingers flying over the alien controls. "If I don't calibrate it correctly, it could kill us all." Russell gritted his teeth and rejoined the battle, his rifle bucking against his shoulder again and again. The Pakled were closing in, heedless of their own mounting casualties. The human commandos fought like lions, but Russell could see they were on the cusp of being overrun. Ammunition was running low, and more aliens just kept pouring into the ruins. It was only a matter of time. Just as a trio of Pakled troopers broke through the defensive line and charged into the chamber, a brilliant emerald pulse erupted from the alien machine, engulfing the room in blinding light. Russell squeezed his eyes shut against the glare. When the brightness subsided, he looked up to see Patel standing triumphantly over the three Pakled soldiers now sprawled motionless on the floor, their armor smoking and sparking. "Got it!" the engineer cried, hefting the pulsing alien weapon. Another green energy discharge lanced out, striking the massed Pakled in the tunnel. The aliens crumpled like puppets with cut strings as the weapon's beams swept through their ranks, leaving a scene of motionless gray bodies stretching back down the passageway. "It disrupts their technology," Patel explained breathlessly. "Fries their weapons and armor. Probably the cybernetic implants they use to control their soldiers, too." Russell grinned wolfishly as he surveyed the devastation they had unleashed upon the Pakled. The battle had taken its toll. McTaggart was down, and Valdez sported a nasty burn along her side. But they were alive, and they had the weapon. "Good work, Patel," he said, clapping the engineer on the shoulder. "All right, people, let's move out. We're not done yet. It's time we take this fight to the Pakled." Russell led his limping, bloodied but victorious squad back out onto the Martian surface. As they emerged from the ruins, Chen pointed to a dark shape descending from the star-speckled sky. A Pakled transport, no doubt bringing further reinforcements to secure the alien site. "Perfect timing," Russell muttered. He hefted the alien weapon and flashed a predatory smirk at his team. "What do you say we get ourselves a ride out of here?" The stolen Pakled transport shuddered as it punched through Earth's atmosphere, carrying Russell and his battered team back to the resistance base. Russell winced as the medic tended to his wounds. The raid on Mars had succeeded, but at a steep cost. Weeks passed as Russell recovered, poring over intelligence reports and strategizing with his lieutenants. The alien weapon they'd recovered was a game-changer, but the Pakled still held most of Earth in an iron grip. "We need to hit them hard and fast," Russell told his assembled commanders. "Sergeant Tanaka, you'll coordinate our strike teams. Dr. Patel, I want you focused on reverse engineering that weapon. We need every edge we can get." The Resistance launched a series of lightning raids on Pakled strongholds. Russell watched from the command center as human fighters swarmed a Pakled garrison. The alien weapon pulsed, and rows of Pakled troops collapsed as their systems overloaded. "Another success, sir," Tanaka reported. "We've pushed them back 50 kilometers. But the victories were bittersweet. As Russell's forces advanced through liberated territory, they found cities reduced to smoking rubble. Fenris and his troops were destroying everything in their path as they retreated. In what was once Prague, Russell surveyed the devastation. Civilians huddled in the ruins, hollow-eyed and starving. "Get these people food and medical care," he ordered. A scout rushed up. "Sir, we found something. You need to see this." Deep beneath the city, Russell discovered the nightmarish truth. Hundreds of humans in stasis pods, horrific cybernetic implants grafted to their bodies. "What is this?" Russell breathed. Corporal Ivanova's fingers flew over a captured Pakled terminal. "It's a processing center," she said grimly. "They're experimenting on humans, turning them into slaves." Russell's fist clenched. "We end this, now!" Under cover of darkness, Russell led an elite team towards the Pakled Central Command. Tanaka's diversionary assault lit up the night sky, drawing enemy forces away. Russell and his squad slipped through the perimeter. They fought their way through winding corridors until they reached the command center. The doors hissed open, revealing the towering form of Fenris. "So the human vermin have crawled from their holes," the Pakled warlord sneered. "It's over, Fenris," Russell said, leveling his weapon. "Surrender now." Fenris laughed. "Foolish human. My armies will crush your pathetic resistance." "Maybe," Russell replied, "but you won't be around to see it." He held up a detonator. "This whole base is rigged to blow. Surrender, or we all go down together." Fenris's eyes narrowed. "You're bluffing. You lack the will to sacrifice yourself." Russell met the alien's gaze unflinchingly. "Try me." For a long moment, silence reigned. Then Russell's thumb descended on the detonator. The world exploded. Overstressed metal screamed as the command center collapsed around them. Through the chaos, Ivanova fired the alien weapon. Fenris convulsed and fell. As the dust settled, Russell hauled the unconscious Pakled leader up. "We've got him. Let's move." Hours later, Russell addressed the remaining Pakled forces. Fenris knelt before him, bound and defeated. "Your leader is beaten," Russell declared. "Withdraw from Earth immediately or he dies. You have 1 hour to comply." The Pakled evacuation began soon after. Russell watched grimly as alien ships streaked into the sky. Earth was free, but at a terrible price. As the last Pakled transport vanished from view, Dr. Patel burst into the command center, face pale. "Sir," she said urgently, "I've analyzed Fenris's personal data. There's something you need to see." Russell studied the display, his blood running cold. A vast Pakled armada bearing down on Earth. "They're coming back," he said softly, "and in force." He turned to his assembled officers, eyes hardened. "We've won the battle. Now we prepare for war." Russell watched grimly as the last Pakled ships vanished into the inky void of space. The battle was won, but a greater challenge loomed on the horizon. "Dr. Patel, what's the status on that data we recovered?" he asked, turning to the scientist hunched over a bank of monitors. Patel's fingers flew across the keyboard, her face illuminated by the harsh glow of the screens. "Sir, I've completed my analysis. It's not good news." She pulled up a holographic projection, showing a massive fleet of Pakled warships moving inexorably towards Earth. This armada is at least 10 times the size of the force we just repelled. They're being led by a Pakled commander named Kurvgath. Based on their current trajectory, they'll reach our system in approximately 6 months. Russell's lips pursed. Then we've got work to do. Tanaka! The grizzled sergeant snapped to attention. Sir! I'm promoting you to lieutenant. Your new assignment is to train every able-bodied person we can find. I want a combat-ready force to meet this threat head-on. Tanaka nodded grimly. I'll make soldiers out of them, sir, even if I have to beat the Pakled fear out of them myself. Over the next weeks, the resistance threw themselves into preparing Earth's defenses. Russell oversaw the construction of a vast network of orbital platforms and ground-based weapon emplacements. The scars of occupation were slowly covered by the feverish activity of a planet gearing up for war. In a hardened bunker beneath the ruins of Chicago, Corporal Ivanova and her team labored day and night to unlock the secrets of the alien weapon. Russell found her there, bleary-eyed but triumphant. We've cracked it, sir, she said, gesturing to the disassembled components spread across the workbench. The weapon system is incredibly powerful, but there's a catch. It requires a rare energy source we've only detected on a single moon here. She pointed to a star chart showing a distant system. Russell studied the map, his mind racing. That's along the Pakled Armada's projected route. We need to secure that energy source before they arrive. He assembled a strike team, with Tanaka and Ivanova at its core. Their ship slipped away from Earth under the cover of darkness, embarking on a perilous journey across hostile space. They encountered Pakled scout ships near the Rigel system, barely escaping after a tense cat-and-mouse game through an asteroid field. Ivanova's piloting skills were pushed to the limit as she wove through the tumbling rocks, the Pakled pursuers smashing themselves to pieces in their wake. Finally, they reached the desolate moon. Its surface was a maze of jagged crystal formations, glowing with an eerie inner light. They landed in a narrow canyon and began to drill into the crystalline crust, following the energy readings. As Ivanova oversaw the extraction of the precious energy source, a warning klaxon blared. "Multiple contacts dropping out of FTL," shouted the sensor operator. "It's Kurvgath's advance force." Pakled dropships screamed overhead, disgorging waves of troops. Russell and his team found themselves pinned down behind hastily erected barricades as energy bolts sizzled through the air. "We're outnumbered 10-1, Tanaka yelled over the din of battle. "We can't hold them off forever." Ivanova's eyes widened as she studied her scanner. "Sir, the energy source, it's incredibly volatile. If we overload it..." Russell nodded grimly. "Do it. Tanaka, you and your best men buy us time. The rest of us will fall back to the ship with what we've already mined." Tanaka grinned fiercely. "It's been an honor, sir." He turned to his troops. "All right, you ugly bastards. Let's show these Pakled scum how humans fight." As Tanaka's team laid down suppressing fire, Russell and the others fought their way back to the ship. Ivanova worked feverishly to rig the energy source for detonation. They barely cleared the moon's atmosphere when the world behind them erupted in a blinding flash. The shockwave buffeted their ship, alarms blaring as Ivanova wrestled with the controls. When the sensors cleared, there was nothing left of the moon but a slowly expanding field of debris, along with the vaporized remains of Kurvgath's advance force. The victory was Pyrrhic. As they limped back to Earth with their precious cargo, Russell stared out at the stars, thinking of Tanaka and the others who had sacrificed everything. "Their deaths won't be in vain," he vowed quietly. In the months that followed, Earth became an arsenal. The alien weapon was mass-produced and integrated into every defense system they could build. When Kurvgath's armada finally arrived, they found a planet jam-packed with weaponry, its defenders grimly determined. The battle raged across the solar system. Pakled ships exploded by the dozens as Earth's defense grid came online, the alien weapons tearing through their hulls seamlessly. But still, they came, wave after relentless wave. In the central command hub, Russell watched the tactical displays with growing concern. Despite their technological edge, Earth's defenses were slowly being overwhelmed by sheer numbers. "Sir," reported a haggard communications officer. The London defense grid just went dark. New York is reporting critical damage to their shield generators. Russell's mind raced. They couldn't keep this up indefinitely. They needed a game changer, a way to take the fight to the enemy. He turned to his assembled staff, a desperate plan forming. "Listen up," he said, his voice cutting through the chaos of the command center. "I've got an idea. It's risky as hell, but it might be our only shot." Russell's voice cut through the chaos of the command center. "I've got an idea. It's risky as hell, but it might be our only chance." The assembled staff leaned in, desperation etched on their faces. Russell laid out his audacious plan, his words punctuated by the distant rumble of explosions. "We lure the Packlet fleet into a concentrated area, then hit them with everything we've got. A thermonuclear warhead, augmented with the alien weapons energy." Ivanova's eyes widened. "Sir, the yield would be catastrophic," Russell finished. "But it's our best shot at taking out their entire armada in one blow." Tanaka frowned. "There's a catch, isn't there?" Russell nodded grimly. "The detonation needs to be triggered manually from inside the blast radius. We can't risk the Packlet disabling it remotely." A heavy silence fell over the room. Russell surveyed his team, knowing he was asking for the ultimate sacrifice. "I need a volunteer," he said softly. Without hesitation, Tanaka stepped forward. "I'll do it, sir." Russell clasped Tanaka's shoulder, words failing him. The grizzled sergeant managed a wry smile. Someone's got to show these alien bastards what humans are made of. As the others filed out to begin preparations, Tanaka lingered. "Sir, I'd like to record a message for my family." Russell nodded, his throat tight. "Of course. Use my personal comm station." While Tanaka said his goodbyes, Russell oversaw the frantic preparations. He redirected defensive assets, creating a vulnerability in Earth's shield grid to draw in the Packlet ships. In the lab, Ivanova worked feverishly, sweat beading on her brow as she integrated the alien technology into the warhead. Her fingers flew over control panels, making minute adjustments to maximize the weapon's effectiveness. Hours later, as the battle raged on, Russell watched the tactical display with laser focus. The Packlet ships moved inexorably towards the trap, drawn by the promise of an easy victory. "Now," Russell commanded. Tanaka's small craft launched, streaking towards the heart of the Packlet formation. Energy bolts sizzled past him, the shields barely holding against the onslaught. In the command center, Ivanova's voice was steady as she guided Tanaka to the optimal detonation point. 3 degrees port, hold course, you're almost there." Russell clenched his fists, willing Tanaka to succeed. On the main view screen, a final transmission from the sergeant appeared. Tanaka's face was calm, resolute. "To the Packlet forces," he growled. "You came here thinking humanity would be an easy conquest. You were wrong. We will never surrender, never stop fighting. Even in the face of extinction, we stand defiant." His hand hovered over the detonation trigger. "This is how humans wage war." The screen went white. A blinding flash lit up the sky, followed by a shockwave that shook the very foundations of the earth. The Packlet armada vanished in an inferno of unimaginable proportions. As the light faded, Russell stared at the tactical display in disbelief. Where once there had been thousands of enemy ships, now there was only debris. The remnants of the Packlet fleet, leaderless and broken, began to flee. But the cost was staggering. Entire cities lay in ruins, defensive grids shattered by the blast. Russell surveyed the devastation, the weight of command heavy on his shoulders. "Begin rescue operations," he ordered, his voice hoarse, "and prepare a full casualty report." In the days that followed, Russell worked tirelessly to coordinate recovery efforts. He delivered the news of Tanaka's sacrifice to the survivors, honoring the fallen hero and all those who had given their lives in defense of Earth. As he stood atop a hill overlooking the ruins of what had once been San Francisco, Russell's mind turned to the future. They had won this battle, but at a terrible price, and in the vast expanse of the galaxy, other threats surely lurked.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.